Hey, welcome to the first episode of the year of 2023. Welcome to the Undrafted Hockey Fan Podcast. My name is Brad Mescler, and let's just kind of get into it. Just real quick note, I have a new Seattle Kraken hat. I was very excited about this. My mom got it for me for Christmas. So I typically don't buy myself hats because I just don't want to spend the money on them, but I love hats. And so I was really excited to have this one, and it fits so well, and I'm really happy with it. So second thing is my brothers did get me a stick because I do watch my videos. It's a little shorty guy. But it works out really well because it is it's for I'm on my computer. Clearly, I'm sitting down, so I can show some demonstrations. So I was very excited about that. So thanks, Josh, and thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. So, anyways, so let's talk about the video today. We are going to be talking about Joe Pavelski and his new contract that he just signed. So I've been a big fan of Joe Pavelski because he was on my San Jose Sharks that I really enjoy. They're my second favorite team. And then he went to my third favorite team, the Dallas Stars. So it ended up being a kind of a blessing in that way. And the resurgence that we've seen from Joe Pavelski and his play has been phenomenal. Honestly, he's defying age. He's kind of doing an Ovi type thing, Alexander Ovechkin, because he's not aging, and he's just doing so well. He's still, we'll talk about it. He's going to be, I have plenty of the stats to back up this reason. So just to give you an idea, he did sign a $3.5 million base deal with a $2 million in bonuses, which means AAV, the annual average annual value, which is what the cap hit is based around, is $5.5 million. It's two contracts ago with $7 million for 3 years. His last one, he just signed a 1 year contract with Dallas for $6 million for 1 year, and so now at this point it was eligible that he was able to the players that were only on 1 year contracts, they were able to be signed to a new contract recently within the past week or so. So they signed him to a 1 year extension, which actually makes sense for a player of that age, I'd say. I believe, let's see, we'll jump to the next screen and we'll kind of look at what some things that Joe is. So Joe, he is a right winger. He does play center occasionally, but he is a right winger. So he was drafted in 2023. Oh, you can't see that in that, but but he is 38 years old. So 38-year-olds, typically they're just, you gotta kind of be careful with that because you don't know how they're going to produce. You don't want to sign them to a long-term contract and then not get the value that you want out of them. And so with that, you want to make sure that it's an equal value on both sides. Where the player, he might want to go for a Stanley Cup if he doesn't feel that the team has confidence or the ability to go far in the playoffs, then he probably won't stay. Especially someone of his age, he wants to win a Stanley Cup. And he does not have a Stanley Cup up to this point. He's primarily only played with the Sharks and San Jose. We'll actually just jump over here. You can actually see right here. You can see all the teams that he's been with right here. So all from 2006. Well, let's zoom in on this. Let's go over. So zoom in a little more. Okay, you can kind of see it a little better. So you can see right here that he has, from 2006 7 season, there's San Jose all the way through, and then he just had recently in the last couple of years has been with Dallas since 1920. So let's just go through real quick why the 5.5 AAV makes sense, both for Dallas and both for Joe Pavelski. So kind of looking back at his contracts previously, like I was just talking about, we're going to go with when he really established himself as an amazing player. And so if we go back, you kind of can see the way I look at it is a player is how they're recognized as well as how they are producing points wise, right? Now, when you're looking at someone like Joe Pavelski who's playing center and right wing, centers are going to come at a higher value. So you're going to end up paying them a little bit more than you are a right winger. We're seeing that with the Detroit Red Wings right now, where they have two big UFAs that are coming up right now. They have Dylan Larkin and they have Tyler Bertuzzi. Now, we're looking at Dylan Larkin. Me personally, I think he's going to get between 9 to 10 million. Some people believe it's going to be more than 8, but you're still looking at those higher range players. And he's going to get an 8-year contract. And if you're looking at Bertuzzi, now there's a little bit of a different situation right there, where he has injury prone. He's broken I think 2 wrists or this season already, and he has back issues. So they're going to do a shorter contract. But the AAV is going to be different. Now, Tyler Bertuzzi had a 30-goal season last year, but they're probably going to look around like 5-6 million for him. maybe 7, but really maybe for 5 years at that point. Like I said, it's wingers don't just they don't make as much money as centers. Centers, you can move around anywhere. You can move to the left wing, the right wing. You're better off having more centers than you are wing players, which is one of the reasons it was so surprising that you saw that Pavelski this past 2022 draft went first overall, as opposed to Shane Wright, who is a center. So Pavelski plays on the wing, and Shane Wright playing, like I said, center, lower ceiling but higher floor, where Pavelski has a lower floor but a higher ceiling. Honestly, Montreal was willing to take that risk because they have Nick Suzuki as an amazing center already, and they're still in the middle of a rebuild. So anyways, so Seattle is the one that took Shane Wright, By the way, Shane Wright is doing very well at the World Juniors right now, and so we'll see if he's going to end up coming back to the Seattle Kraken afterwards. So that's another conversation for another time, though. So anyways, going back to Joe Pavelski. So again, what I'm looking for is value of the player. So you want to see points, and you want to see, we're going to see it as awards right here. You can see over here on the side, Selke player. So he's a great two-way player. Selke is given to a player that is both offensive and defensively minded. And this is pretty much a lot of people have this discussion that the Selke Award should be renamed the Patrice Bergeron Award because he's won it so many times. I think it's like 4 times. It's something crazy like that. He's done a phenomenal job. And honestly, he's about to retire. He's probably going to win it again. So again, we're going to look at some of the important statistics over here. So as you can see, let me pause real quick. Sorry to change my view so I can see better. So anyways, as we were saying, so I'm looking for is the value of the player. I'm going to look at how many points he is getting per game. Now, so you want to see ideally a point per game player, especially if you're going to give them that amount of money out. But you also want to see what type of points they're putting up, right? So goals and assists. As a Selke person, he's going to have a great assist. If you're looking at if he was going to be putting up a ton of goals, we'd know about a lot more about him, right? You're looking at your Austin Matthews. You're looking at your Ovechkins. You're looking at some of the higher goaler people like McDavid as well, Draisaitl. But so with a player like this, we're looking at an all-around player. You want him great in both ends of the ice. So let's look at the points and kind of just compare. Mind you, I'm not going to go all the way back because I want the relevant data right now, right? Because he's not a 26-year-old player; he's a 38-year-old player. So there's some deficiencies you got to make up for him, but that's okay because he's still bringing the value. So let's kind of look back to his days in Dallas. I want to go his previous year before right as he's about to leave San Jose. So you can see right here. So in the 2018-2019, he was around 64 points, a little more goals, right, than assists, but 75 games. So you're looking at just about maybe like a 0.8, 0.9 points per game, which is awesome. Again, we're looking for an excellent player, and it's becoming more not common, but it's not uncommon to have players that are point per game players. Last year I think they had 9 games, but like that's where you want to start looking for those high value players. Again, this is the reason why I'm going over the contract is because you want to look for high value and what makes sense for the player as well as the team, right? And why I really love this $5.5 million deal for Pavelski. So that looks awesome. By the way, after he left San Jose from this contract, he had a no movement clause, so he just went out to free agency. And he decided to sign with Dallas. He signed a 3-year deal with Dallas at $7 million each, right? So you can see his first year in Dallas, not amazing at this point, right? You're kind of wondering what Dallas is thinking, and you're like, at this point, think about this too, right? He's in this year right here at 2022, 2023, he's 38, right? You're signing a player 4 years ago, so he's 33, 34 years old. You're signing him to a $7 million deal for 3 years. 3 years. That's similar to the Letang deal, which we're seeing right now as a defenseman. Letang does put up a lot of points, but you also question how long of a deal you want with a player that old. So, there's some questionable decision making right there by Jim Nils, who is a GM of the Dallas Stars. So you kind of move on to next year, right? You look at 51 points in 56 games. That's awesome. That's great. That's amazing. But just to go back real quick, this isn't the 2019-2020 season. This was going into COVID too, so there's maybe some struggles there, right? We don't know really what happened. But coming through the first season after COVID, really wanted to get back on the horse, right? Look at that. He's splitting half goals, half points, almost right there, 51 points. In 56 games. So you're looking at, again, almost a point per game player. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's the type of value you want on a $7 million player. Another one that's pretty notable in comparison, to give you an idea, Sidney Crosby is $88.7 million a year, and he's about a point per game player, right? So again, Sidney Crosby's a different level. He's legendary. But just to give you an idea that's the reason that's a value contract. Mind you, Sidney Crosby also signed a 14-year contract, which are now illegal. He signed a 14-year contract back a long time ago, at the start of his, I think right after his ELC. And it was an 8.7 for 14 years. So again, now at this point, if you are on the team, you can sign an 8-year contract. If you're not on the team, it's only a $7 million contract. We're seeing that. There's a reason Matthew Tkachuk did a sign and trade with Calgary from Calgary to Florida. Matthew Tkachuk signed in Calgary an 8-year deal, and then he was traded to the Florida Panthers. So that way the Florida Panthers could get that extra year because they were paying him $10.5 million. Now, if Matt Tkachuk wanted, it could only do for 7 years. Panthers would have to match the same value, right? Panthers would have to pay more on the AAV, which of course they didn't want to do. So that's a reason why you do that type of thing. So looking great again, 51 points, 56 games, and then look at just last year, 81 points in 82 games. That is phenomenal. I was so excited for him. I was so happy for him, doing phenomenally well. Mind you, this is the start of this new line for them too. It isn't all Joe Pavelski, but it is. You have the new guy coming in. You have Jason Robertson, who was phenomenal. I think he won the Calder 2 years ago, or he's a phenomenal. He's a 42 goal scorer, I believe, was one of the seasons. And you have Rope Hintz, who's playing phenomenal as their center. Great line. Honestly, I think they said it was top 5 line in the NHL based on expected goals for per 60. So again, great partners. You found great chemistry, and the 54 assists. I mean, come on, he's setting up Rope Hintz as well as Jason Robertson in this. So, and then you're again looking this season right now, as he currently has 37 points in 38 games. Again, you're looking at a point per game player. Now, this is Jim Nill's getting ahead of this contract. He's getting now at this point. He had for this 2022-2023 season, he took $1 million discount. So we go from $7 million because the contract had ended in 21-22. He signed a $6 million deal as opposed to $7 million. So again, and then now we are seeing for the up and coming year 23-24, we are seeing that is going to be a $5.5 million deal. And so I wanted to kind of break down the structure of that too. Again, high value. I mean, look by the way, he was. Just kind of going through, you see Selke, Lady Bing, right? So that's a pretty passive player. We saw that Pavel Datsuk had that as well. He was very much in the Lady Bing conversation all the time. You can see All-Star, 2-time All-Star, right? Selke in the Hart contention right here. Look at 78 points in 82 games. So this isn't uncommon for him to be able to step up his play and really get to that next level. And Lady Bing, Selke. So again, phenomenal player. It's amazing what we've seen so far. 17 years already in the NHL. Look, he's almost at. If you look here too, the points go down 961. He's almost at the 1,000 point mark. And honestly, at this rate, by the end of the year, he actually might be able to get it. If not, I mean, we already know he has next year, so he's going to get that 1,000 goal mark, and that's huge for getting into the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's hitting the 1,000 goals. Is huge. It's not necessary, but it's highly advised. We're seeing that with Zetterberg right now. He does not have 1,000 points, and so there's some contention about whether he's going to go in. I think potentially they're waiting on Pavel Datsuk. Pavel Datsuk just retired, so I think they're waiting for him so they can bring them in together to the Hall of Fame. But again, he has 1,200 games in the NHL, which is huge. So if we go to the next, I just want to go over his contract real quick. We'll just kind of go through real quick. So we're gonna go to the we're going back to the one with the Stars. We'll scroll down here. So right here you can see a modified no trade clause. So here's where he signed with the Stars with Jim Nill. Again, that's $7 million. So the value of doing this. So there's. And the structures matter for this, and the reason this is so important is that when you get to that last year, you want you make it so the player is more tradable, or if the player does not want to be traded, that goes with uprooting your family and everything, they'll structure the deal that way. So you can see, so that's where you kind of talk about the bonuses. So you're looking at, here's a cap at AAV, and here's the bonuses, salary, and everything. So if he. So the way that this has worked in Joe Pavelski's stage where he doesn't want to be traded, or he wants to have the options of where he decides he wants to be traded to. One, you can see in the modified no trade clause right here, the player submits a three-team trade list. So he picked 3 teams that he wants to go to. Typically, they'll just pick 2 teams they don't want to go to, and a third one they want to go to. So that makes the GM have to do that. As well, so if you're looking here, very, very salary focused right here at the start, which makes sense because he wants to stay and everything. He doesn't want to get moved. This one is more in bonuses. You see the $4 million bonus right here. So that is, hey, this is more trade. I would say it's more tradable because then a team has the higher cap hit or AAV, but a lower salary. But the issue is going with that last year, that third year, it is all base salary. So that would be paid by the organization who is currently having his contract, right? So if he gets traded, he has to get paid that amount. Whereas if you have a salary that's mostly bonuses are paid out, and then the salary can be really low, so that the actual dollars being spent on the team is better because they're not having to actually shell a bunch of money and they still get the player. So that's where we're going to go back and we're going to look at the new one couple ones that he just signed, right? So right now, you can see he's clearly on one where, again, he's showing that he wants to stay. So he gets a smaller bonus right here. This is the 2022-2023. Again, no movement clause. And here's a bonus right here, $100,000 for each game played. That's because he's older and it wants to include being potentially injured, right? Let's close this ad. So that's what this bonus is right here, potential bonuses, salary bonuses right here. Signing bonuses, sorry. And this is the salary, right? He's taking a salary because it motivates the GM not to trade him. I guess no moving clauses as well, right? But it just gives him that comfort and that ability to just say, hey, like I want to stay and everything. So, and we go back here again. This is where, again, we talk about oh wow, look at that, $1 million for 10 games played and $1 million for 20 games played. Well, I think he's again, this is kind of goes back to the security he has as a player. He's like, hey man, like I want to play, so I'm going to get my $3.5 million in salary. No matter what, whether he plays or doesn't, he's going to get that. And if he plays 10 games, great. If he plays 20 games, great. You get $1 million for each 10 games played in up to 20 games. And so that allows smart for the GM because if he gets injured, now he doesn't have to worry about it. He doesn't have to worry about paying that extra $2 million in bonuses. Okay. And then as well as if Joe Pavelski is successful and he does play and he is a value add because he's an important piece right now, he is able to, and he gets the bonuses and he gets the money that he's deserved, right? So it's a win-win. It's a better risk for Pavelski because he still gets some salary, $3.5 million as we see. But it also, if he does play and he stays, it's important for him to stay in shape. It's important for him to stay healthy. So he decides on how he's going to play or how he's going to treat his body, not overtrain so that he can get that extra $2 million. So he's incentivized, as well as the team's willing to pay that amount if he stays with the team. So this is a great contract. I'm really excited for them. Again, it does have the no moving clause, so the likelihood that it's going to be traded is unlikely, I'd say. But it works out for both teams. So I'm really excited, or both parties, I would say, for the team as well as the player. So I'm excited. I love Joe Pavelski. I think he's a great player. Great heart. I think he's underrated. I think he will eventually go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I think he needs a cup. He's been in so many runnings for these for these trophies and everything. So I think he's great. But I'm biased because I'm a Sharks fan. So I got in when he was. I think I was watching the Sharks since I was like 18-ish. So I mean I've been watching the Sharks since Joe Pavelski's been there. So. Anyways, so I just wanted to go over those today, and I appreciate you guys jumping on with me. Let's just jump over to here. Hey, so anyways, again, love my new hat, love my new stick, excited. Anyways, I will catch up with you guys soon. Let me know if you have any questions or anything, or any thoughts about how I talked about the contract, because I'm interested. I love contracts. I think they're really interesting in how they trade and they do it. I love how the GMs decide it and everything. So let me know what your comments are. Anyways, talk to you there. Love you.